Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We finally have secured our special guest. We've been teasing this for about, 6 months since we started, that we'd actually get someone useful on to talk to that can talk some sense. We've tried Beasley, we've tried Emma, but finally we've reached Emilie now. And welcome, but we will introduce you first. But Beals, welcome to the studio, mate. Good to have you back sitting here with us.
It's great to be here. I'm glad to be here for this interview. It's going to be good. Excellent.
Very excited. Emma, you've been absolutely chomping at the bit. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 11?
Look, there's a couple of things. I'm very excited for this interview, but I'm actually excited to see James's legs in real life. So instead of being on a computer screen, he's got them.
Yeah, man of mysteries, and his computer is about to take off from the noises.
Yes, it's quite loud, actually.
The fans. But without further ado, Emilie Miller, welcome to the Aussie Backyard Banter. We're probably not the most professional podcast you've ever been on, but we'll see how we go. But welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
You were just talking to us before that you're currently in the Sunshine Coast, and apparently the weather isn't as up to scratch at the moment.
No, definitely more of the rainy coast rather than the sunny coast up here at the moment. It's been pretty abysmal, actually. But yes, hopefully we are on for a bit of a nice stretch for the rest of the weekend. So might be able to get out and do a few things for the next couple of days.
You're talking to a couple of farmers or wannabe farmers here, so we'll take the rainy weather. So we never complain. But no, it's good. It's good to have you now. We do like to throw the hardest question to our guests straight up. How would you describe yourself in three-ish kind of words, like phrases? We said 3 words, but it got a bit complicated. So like 3 things.
Definitely intense. High maintenance is probably another one that my family would very much agree with. And probably just ambitious above everything else.
Yeah. Very good. Very good top 3. We've had a lot worse. Yeah, I think we had tall, handsome, and useless was the last guest that described himself. So that's much better.
These interviews going already, just smack bang,
just what we expected. So look, we'll start off, Emilie. Now, we did say before, it's a very humbling experience to do a bit of research on you. Obviously, I tried to do some before the show, so I looked a bit prepared. But you've achieved nearly great success in every sport you've had a crack at. Obviously, it doesn't just happen, but you've done paracycling, if that's correct, and then now you're into the wheelchair rugby. Which one of the two is your favourite? Are you loving the rugby more than the cycling, or is it about the same for you?
Look, I'm very fond of my time in cycling, but for me, rugby just has a different environment, different feel about it. And, just being in that team environment has a lot of banter, a lot of fun with, a lot of the boys and the other people that are in my team. And, so for me, it just provides a lot more of a different environment, a lot more playful. And so, I have to say that's the winner at the moment for me. But, just a different environment.
Yeah, because obviously it's the cycling would have to be a lot more individual than the like an individual sport than a team sport. I couldn't do it. I take my hat off to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just, we have such a great crew around us as well, and a really great culture in our team at the moment. And, that just makes everyone want to be there. And, just, I guess, the level that you get to know everybody on when you've got to work with them is so much different to when you're doing an individual sport. So I think the buy-in that you get from everyone is just a bit different. And, we just, we all know each other's kids and family and things like that. And that definitely, makes it feel a little bit more personal, a little bit more like a family environment.
And you can also share the blame a little bit if things don't go right, as opposed to in the cycling.
Oh, absolutely. If anything ever goes wrong in our team, it's definitely the high pointers. It's never the lowies that have ever done anything wrong. It's definitely the high pointers.
Yeah, no, well, that's a good point, because we did look at that. Obviously, each team sport is very different, so you've obviously got your different classifications. How does your classification fit in? I honestly, it confuses me. We spoke about this in another episode when Emma's dabbled in a few sports. She's our Paralympic expert until you turned up. But what's your classification, Emilie, currently for your sport?
Yeah, so I'm a 0.5 classification. So in wheelchair rugby, everybody's given a classification from 0.5 up to 3.5, ranging in 0.5 increments. So 0.5, 1, 152, 253, up to 3.5. So 3.5 being the least impaired athletes, 0.5 being the most impaired athletes. So I'm one of our lower functioning athletes. And so I'm classed as a lowie. We kind of break our team into three people, three different categories. So we have our lowies, our mids, and our high pointers. So, I guess roles on court vary a little bit from each of those categories. So for a low pointer, you're more of a defensive role, helping our high pointers and our mids get through the court and I guess paving a way for them, where mids and highs do a lot more of the ball carrying, a lot more passing, a lot more offensive sort of structure and things on court.
Yeah, right. So do you all still train together, or do you train as your classifications, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so definitely train together. So we're a national team that's spread out across the country. Most of our athletes are actually based here either on the Sunshine Coast or in Brisbane. So we're very lucky that we have, I think it was last head count was 11 Steelers across our squad of 20 or so that are based here in Queensland. So that's such a great environment for us to all train together here, and means that we can practice those little combinations that we run on court actually in our daily training environment, which is really handy.
Yeah.
Do you think people move up to Queensland because of the opportunities, or is it that's just where people are and that's just how it's worked?
Oh, look, I mean, yeah, apart from the rain, the weather's definitely a draw card for coming up here. But look, I think it's definitely a big draw card at the moment is the experience and the population we have up here from our team. The QAS up here, Queensland Academy of Sport, have recently taken over a wheelchair rugby program where traditionally we've been quite separated throughout the country. And so there are lots of people relocating up here at the moment to be a part of that. And yeah, that's definitely contributed to our success now nationally to have us be able to train together a lot more often than what we ever had before.
It sounds like a pretty cool thing to be a part of, really. Like if you're going to be a part of a sport, have everyone in your backyard, it would be a lot of fun. Like it'd be no different to just playing a normal. Do you guys play like weekend? Is there a weekend comp? I know it's a really stupid question. I should have researched that. But is there like a weekend comp that you go to, or how do you train?
Yeah, so we have a club tournament throughout the year. So it's called National League. And there's a couple of rounds of it. They're usually in different states, Melbourne, Queensland, Sydney usually. So that's coming up for us later in the year. But the club teams are based on universities. So Melbourne Rugby Club's got one, Sydney Uni, Bond University, that's who I play for, UQ. And that creates its own little rivalry. So there's a very strong rivalry between UQ and Bond at the moment. So our Australian captain, Chris Bond, plays for the UQ team. And his thing is he likes to say that UQ have never lost a game whatsoever he's played for them, which is so, so rich. But yes, it's quite the banter and quite the, I guess, rivalry between those two teams because they're the two most successful teams. So I'm really hoping that Bond can get up this year. I feel like it's our year over UQ this year, but we'll just wait and see. But that's kind of our weekend tournament, yeah.
Do you want to do any smack talking while there's no one here to defend themselves? Do we want to talk?
do we need to create an anatomy of the show?
No, look, I think I've said enough. I feel like it's Bond's year. That's as far as I'm prepared to go at the moment.
I'm happy you're throwing heat and we're less than 10 minutes in. You've really fitted into the group here.
Emilie, I suppose, how did you get into the different sports, and what sports have you tried? What wasn't for you? How did you get into it? What was the process?
Yeah, so for me, I had a spinal cord injury at 12. At the time, I was a swimmer before my accident, and so straight after my accident, I actually went into para swimming as well, whilst I finished out my time at school. And for me, that was just basically some rehab and a return to normal, I guess, normal life, normal training and social events with my friends. And then once I finished school, I just went looking for a new challenge, and I actually ended up meeting someone who provided me with a bike and kind of got into it, I guess, as cross-training for swimming, and then actually jumped on it and loved it and started to look into where I could actually get some coaching and realised that it was a whole competitive sport of its own. So ended up in cycling, loved that and was there for 10 years. And then kind of got to this point where I'd done 4 world championships in cycling, but unfortunately my classification for cycling was never going to be on the program for Paralympic Games. Each Paralympics is limited, I guess, by numbers and events that they can run. And for me, I really wanted to go to Paralympics. That was my dream. I was that kid that's standing in front of the TV at 5 years old saying, I want to be like Thorpe and go to the Olympics. So vision shifted a little bit once I had my accident. And yeah, so I guess for me, I was looking at it going, well, I'm never going to go to a games if I stay in this sport. So at that time, I was sort of a little bit disillusioned with the sport. Rugby actually came and found me, which was really cool. So they just got a new development manager who had chatted to a few other people in different sports, and someone said, I I know someone who might actually be up for a sport change. And so I got a call from our lovely, who is now team manager, Sam Fox, and Foxy rings me up, and great bloke, and just goes, hey, like, do you want to come play rugby? And I was like, you're insane. No. Thank you very much for the chat. Bye. Hung up. And no, well, it didn't go quite like that. But yes, it was like, you're a little bit insane, but yeah, why not? And so was really lucky that he arranged for me to go and meet some other athletes and then actually participate in a training session. So here I was thinking I was just going in to watch the first training session, and I get there and they've got a chair ready, and I walk in and go, oh, okay, well, we're on then. And didn't want to look like a bit of a sook, so I thought I better jump in. And yeah, just loved it ever since.
And how much did you know of the sport before actually trying it, or were you just going in blind and hoping for the best?
Look, I did do a bit of a research on it because just in my nature, I need to feel like I know things about things before I do that. So yeah, did
You're the one podcast.
Yeah, he's going to say you've really dropped the ball.
So yeah, so like I did do a bit of research before that first session, but yeah, really didn't understand a lot of the strategy. It is a very strategic sport, very tactical sport, so I didn't really understand a lot about that, but knew sort of the basics of classifications and things like that. So when I went in, I knew that I would probably be a low point athlete, and had sort of had some conversations with one of the other athletes that they put me in touch with, and with that development manager, Foxy, around what that would look like and who I'd be on court. And just when I jumped in a chair, I was just happy to learn on the fly then.
And then you also spoke about, there was a chair waiting for you on your first session that you thought you were watching. If you're happy to talk about like prices of chairs, how the availability of it, like how, explain that.
Yeah, where do you get your wheels from? Like, you're not going down to Tyre World, I assume.
Yeah, no. So each chair, definitely comes from a supplier. Most chairs are scripted for individual athletes. So the chair that they had there waiting for me was a chair that was owned by the program that had previously belonged to another athlete. So, jumped in that. And like you said, wheels and everything has to be custom ordered. So for the first probably 12 months of playing rugby, I was actually in a hand-me-down, or I guess chair of someone who had retired. So I guess one of the challenges, being one of the few females who actually play our sport in our country, was that the chair that I had was from an ex-athlete who was 6'2", and I'm a whopping 5'3". So chairs and stuff. It was probably not quite right, but it was enough to get me into the sport, and went down the process then when I knew that I wanted to pursue this long term of getting my own chair scripted and funded. And yes, fortunately NDIS do help with funding some of these chairs because they are exceptionally expensive.
Emma's played a bit of wheelchair sport and tells us that was it your arms the hardest bit?
No, my neck.
Oh, neck, yeah. And I've been way too scared to try. There was wheelchair AFL in Wagga today, and all these sports now, you look at it and you go, what is the training program for that? Like, is it all just upper body and obviously a fair bit of neck training? Like what is your probably like your day? Do you have like a week scheduled training, Emilie, or how do you run it?
Yeah, so we do 3 court sessions together a week. So our Monday, Wednesday, Friday sessions are our on court sessions. So that's might be some gameplay or some strategy stuff. And then our Tuesday and Thursday sessions, we're in the gym, so doing a bit of strength work, some weights, and like you said, a lot of that, protective stuff. So, maintenance of shoulder injuries, elbow injuries, wrist injuries that are really common for wheelchair rugby athletes. It's funny you bring up about the neck stuff because, yeah, we do have to do a lot of that with the contact in our sport and the collision of our sport. It's some, I guess, injury prevention of our neck, but also for concussion symptoms and stuff as well. So we do a lot of that preventative stuff for neck and shoulder injuries as part of our program.
Yeah. Now, while we're into that, obviously Adelaide was a couple of weeks ago. That was the championships down there that I saw. And now, obviously ever since you agreed to go on the podcast, I've started following all the pages just so I can keep up to date. I was very fortunate to get a top fan thing on Facebook the other day. So I'm up there. One of the top fans. How was Adelaide? How was the experience down there? Is this like the first experience of having was it a national or world championships in Adelaide? Is that correct?
So yeah, we had our it's called World Challenge over there. So it's in conjunction with our national championships. So we did have our national championships for our Queensland, New South Wales, like Victoria teams all competing against each other. And then we did have an international division as well. So that's the third time now we've actually hosted that over in Adelaide, which is really exciting. So we had some really high quality teams come this year, which was really, really lovely. So we're over there with Brazil, Denmark, unfortunately didn't make it at the last moment. The Poms came over, the US. Yeah, so we had some good competition over there for that few days, which was lovely. For me, it was actually a really exciting opportunity as well because it was the first tournament that I'd gone to since having my son Max. So to have him there as well was really special.
Yeah, that's and congratulations. It must be very exciting to be a mum. How old is Max now?
Thank you very much. Yes, very exciting. He's almost 4 months old.
Oh, very exciting. So how is that? Because obviously parenthood is a massive change to anyone's life. Like clearly, most able-bodied people will struggle with the whole thing. You and your husband, obviously we'll touch on him, but both Paralympic athletes. How has that transition been from parenthood for you guys? Is it any different? You're still not sleeping at night and changing nappies, or who's doing the night shifts? Or is that still going on?
Look, I'm actually very lucky. He does most of the night shifts and the nappy changes. So I managed to get out of that, which was excellent. But no, look, it's been wonderful. Actually, it's hard to describe the way that it does change your life and just, I guess, uproot everything that you thought was important. And now that's this tiny human that just relies on you, and that's just your entire universe. So, but really loving that journey, and it's been really special for us to welcome him into our life and I guess have him be a part of these things. So, for me, he's been coming to training camps, been coming to training, been coming to rugby. He was in Adelaide. So, for me, I guess I'm really lucky and fortunate that I've got the support network around me to be able to do both of those things at the same time. Because for a lot of people, it is a choice of whether they be an athlete or whether they become a parent. And, so very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do both in my life, which is really exciting. And yeah, fortunately, he's actually a really great sleeper. So we're getting lots of strange looks from people. Yeah, so lots of strange looks from people when we tell them that he's sleeping 12 hours a night. But yes, he's been very kind to us so far.
Yeah, awesome.
Does Max have big shoes to fill? Like parents being both high achieving athletes, like is there pressure on Max to then
already
at 4 months old?
Oh look, as we speak, he's out there doing like his training program right now just to make sure he turns into an athlete.
We look forward to hearing about him in about 18 years' time to see where he's up to.
That's probably why he's sleeping for 12 hours a day. He's absolutely bugging.
So do many other athletes in the program have kids as well, Emilie? Or are you the first one to have kids in the group, or what's the support like within the team itself?
Yeah, so really lucky that I actually have quite a number of teammates around us that have children. So we're probably getting to sort of, I guess, the top end of age group in our squad at the moment. So a lot of the people there have children. So that's been a really nice resource for me to lean on as well for some support and some guidance around just general parenthood stuff. But yeah, in terms of females in our team, we typically only have between 3 and 4. There's another female athlete and myself at the moment who both have newborns that have been coming along to training camps and events, which is really exciting. So at the beginning of this year, our team actually implemented a parenting policy, which means that our baby under the age of 12 months as well as a support person. So either a parent or a support worker or a friend or someone can come and help you support that child as part of our team environment as well now. So that's been a really positive change, and everyone's actually really embraced it a lot more than what I thought they ever would. And it's actually been a really nice, I guess, change to our environment in the way that, people come off court and some people might be like really frustrated with how they played, or, we might be frustrated at the result of a game or something. And then we walk back into the hotel and there's all these little babies, on play mats in front of you. And it's really nice to see everyone just kind of melt that tension away whilst they're there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a big part of any team, especially like when you're traveling. I say, how long were you guys in Adelaide for? A couple of weeks, or?
About a week. Yeah, a week, 10 days. Yeah.
That's a long time away from a newborn, because I could only imagine how quickly they're growing and changing. And I suppose you hear stuff from other athletes. Like I listen to a lot of stuff about cricket. They talk about that big change too. Their massive traveling schedule. It's like you miss so much growing up. You miss so many milestones. So it must be great to have it a part of your life.
Yes, and I mean, I've been really lucky throughout my entire sporting career that I've always had family travel to support me, either domestically or internationally. And so, Max has kind of just slotted in on that now as well. So it's just made our entourage just that little bit bigger now, which is really lovely. And like I said earlier, some people have to make that choice, and we're really lucky that we don't have to now with the support available to us.
Taking a bit of a slide shift, Emilie, and we need to get into some really hard-hitting questions again. Now,
Sure.
Beals is sitting here; he's our movie expert. I'm sure you're right up to date with our podcast, and he wants to know. He was going to ask about your favorite movie or trilogy of movies. That's been a hot topic because Beals is undecided. Have you picked a favorite trilogy yet, James?
Oh, a trilogy. I still think Lord of the Rings would have to be up there. Yeah.
Not to lead the witness, Emilie. But do you have a favourite movie? Has it changed now because of Max?
It's gonna take a slight shift away from Lord of the Rings, actually. And I was going to say the Hangover series. I actually love that.
Oh, nice.
So slight shift from where he was going. But yeah, we actually had quite a little anecdote with our family around that. So for those that don't know, Max was actually a surrogate baby. We were really lucky to have that. So my cousin actually carried our baby for us. So whilst he was in utero, we're like, well, we can't just call him baby. That's just ridiculous. Like, why would you call him that? So we actually started calling him Carlos, like the baby out of The Hangover. He was baby Carlos up until he was born, and we actually got to the point where we couldn't find a name that we actually liked to call him instead of Carlos. So he very nearly ended up being Carlos, but yes, fortunately we found another name, and he got to be Max. So yes, we love The Hangovers.
That could have been a great 21st speech.
We can't seriously call our kid after The Hangover.
Yeah, it's a bit like that the Dare ad when they're going to call himself Calamari. That promo, no, not a good move. Yeah, that's right. There you go, Hangover. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah. Beals, have you seen The Hangover, mate? What's your opinion on that?
I have. I think they're all pretty good. For me, the first one is definitely the best. What do you think, Emilie, on that one?
I think the original is definitely the best. But yes, I must say we did go to a tournament in Thailand last year in Bangkok, and it did give me a skewed vision of what it was going to look like.
That's your research. That's your preparation for the country. Just flying over.
Yeah. So you guys get to travel around a fair bit, obviously internationally, like you're saying. How is that experience getting on a plane? Because I find that there's not a lot of leg room for me in normal seats. I can only imagine how you guys must travel. Like, I know your husband's like quite tall as well, but with your wheelchair and getting on access onto planes and all those things, do you guys get like a special plane or special? I don't know. Sorry, I'm really dumb question, but how do you guys travel internationally? Is probably what I want to know.
Yeah, so we use regular plane. But yeah,
No
it is a bit of a
private jets,
mission.
damn it.
Oh no, we're waiting for a big sponsor. So if anyone knows one, we would
Yeah,
love
no,
to
we're
going to New York soon, aren't we?
Yeah, we're trying to get the New York Jets on, but anyway, Bills will update us on that. But yeah, so no private jets.
No private jets. Unfortunately, we do just go economy. So, like you said, it's a bit of a mission with regards to gear and, because usually when we travel, you've got your rugby chair, wheel bag, suitcase, your day chair. It's a fair mission. And then now I've decided to make that process so much easier and have a pram and a baby bag and a baby as well. So, just in case that whole process wasn't hard enough. But we basically transfer onto a really skinny chair, little aisle chair that they drag down through the aisles, and then you just sit on a regular plane seat for the rest of the flight. So that's where my lovely tall 5'3" comes in handy. Is that yes, I'm not too worried about the leg room, but it does make a bit of a mission for long flights.
Not that I'm really trying to compare things, but my old man lost his leg and he's below the knee, so he can still wear prosthetic. And one thing I didn't realize when you go in planes is it's the swelling in your limbs,
Yes.
like how you get that. He can't get his leg to fit back on when he's on there. So he has to get a wheelchair. Like he can walk quite ably normally, but yeah, you need to get the wheelchair support. Like just things like that you just take for granted. Like, yeah, you get fat ankles for a couple of days, but yeah, you don't think of those. I'm sure you've got athletes obviously different classes that would go through all sorts of different challenges.
Yeah, absolutely we do. Like you said, we have athletes on there with prosthetics that do bring a wheelchair purely because of the fact that they are unable to use their prosthetics upon landing or whatnot. And, other things like pressure areas, we struggle with a lot of health concerns around flying. So every time we fly, it is a little bit of a risk to health. But yeah, fortunately, we're pretty used to it now and got a really good team around us.
Yeah, awesome.
And a very personal question, but accessing the toilets on the plane, are you expected to try and go before you get on the plane and then this whole what's the process?
Yeah, look, they're tight. Hey, I think they're tight for everyone. Yeah, look, it's very much a Tetris situation. But yes, we do have access to that aisle chair throughout the flight to be able to jump on and go down to what they call the wheelchair, I guess, accessible bathroom, which is not really that much bigger than the regular bathroom. But it is a little bit of a Tetris situation. But again, you've got lots of support people that travel with us, and we've got some hands to give us a hand in there.
Emma, you're talking about Paralympics and how that was your dream to be a part of it and compete, and you've done that very successfully, obviously, in the past. We've been talking about how it's the timing of it straight after an Olympic Games and the logistics around the changes of that. Do you think that still works for you guys? Like you're getting enough exposure going straight after the main Olympic Games, or do you think you guys should be during the games, or is there a better time that you guys can get a bit more eyes on your events? Because it's a great sport to watch, but it feels like sometimes it gets a bit diluted out. I suppose that's where our conversation started a few months ago about it. But is there a way in your mind, from your professional opinion, that we could improve it?
Look, personally, I would love us to be integrated into the Olympics or even straight off the back of it instead of having that 2-week gap. I guess logistically that becomes a problem in terms of number of athletes in the village and the venues and having all of that, I guess, the space to do those things and run that program is a little bit chaotic. But look, we are doing a better job at increasing that exposure to Paralympic sport, but I do think that we still have a long way to go. And I mean, even in my career lifetime, to even think that 10 years ago when I began my cycling journey, it was like, oh my God, one of our teammates is on the television, everybody get behind it because it was so rare. Where now the fact that we're going into a Paralympic game, seeing, people like Riley Bat on Toyota ads on mainstream television at 6:00 at night, is really exciting to see that people are embracing that. And I really strongly believe in the best thing that ever happened to Paralympic sport was actually COVID, because when the 2021 or 2020 Paralympic Games got moved back to 2021 due to COVID, everyone was in lockdown. So they were at home on their TV, on their devices, actually watching Paralympic sport because they had nothing better to do, nowhere else to be. And it really gained momentum, really gained interest from general public during that time. So I think heading towards Brisbane, I would really love to see I guess, increased exposure around that here in Australia, and seen networks really embrace that. And even people like yourself that are just taking on these para athletes, like everything helps in terms of that exposure. But look, it is slowly getting better.
I suppose, and this is one for Beals to look up the funding between the Paralympics and the main Olympics, but with your wheelchair and all your gear, are you backed by like a Nike or an ASICS or a big company, or is it government funded through the Australian Institute of Sport, or where does most of your funding go? Because it must be an expensive, like obviously there's a lot of costs involved, sorry.
Yeah, so as athletes, we do get funded in terms of we get given grants based on our success for, I guess, to close the gap for the lack of income that you would make because you're away traveling and competing and training and stuff like that. In terms of equipment, that's a big gap. It's either self-funded or things like NDIS. So my chair was purchased through NDIS. There is a big gap in that. And I think the other one that a lot of people don't realize is around medal bonuses. So at a Paralympic Games, Olympians will get a certain amount of funding per medal that they've got. So, it'll be X amount for gold, X amount for silver, X amount for bronze. And prior to Tokyo, there was actually no funding for Paralympic athletes in that way. And it wasn't until again, why I say COVID was so good for Paralympic athletes, was that people started to realize that this was a situation, and actually it was public perception and momentum that changed that. So, I guess there is some gaps in those funding models still for us. And we still have a large gap between us and Olympians in terms of what we make or the support that we're given for equipment and things like that.
What'd you find, James?
Yeah, exactly what Emilie just said about the 2020 was the first time they got medal bonuses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is there much? Yeah, because just you look at some of the athletes and like they're, especially like obviously we've had the athletics championships go through recently, and another member of our podcast, Chris, who couldn't make it tonight, he loves his athletics and store gifts and all that, and he was saying that there's not a heap amount in it for the track and field athletes either, unless you're in the top couple of 2 or 3. They're traveling over to Europe, so it's a real eye opener. I suppose we only really put the spotlight on those guys one every 4 years when the Olympics pop up, and just expect success, like just the Aussie way. We just expect all you guys to do really, really well and not pay for it.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is at the moment, so the Australian Steelers, which is what my wheelchair rugby team is called, have recently been running a campaign called Officially Unsponsored. And so the reason we've run that campaign is that we've been looking for a naming rights sponsor to the Australian Steelers team. And as part of that, we actually stopped wearing our green and gold outfits and we're instead wearing white T-shirts that had a QR code on it, trying to attract a sponsor that could scan that QR code, go to the shop and actually become the naming rights sponsor for the Australian Steelers, because we need some funding support, I guess, to be able to do what we do. And at the moment, we don't have that. And we are just going, well, hang on a minute. We're a current reigning world champion team. We've been on a podium at nearly every Paralympics since the sport existed. And yet we aren't able to get a sponsor. So we've been hitting up, big brands and things like that with no success and just getting turned away. And so for us, we're now in a position where we don't want to run this sort of campaign, but we kind of feel like we've gotten to that point where we have to try and attract a sponsor and do something quite outrageous like that to get that attention and try and, I guess, get the funding that we need to continue to be successful.
You think there's like a steel company would jump all over that? Like surely there's like, you could change 1 or 2 syllables, like, Total Steel Supplies. I don't know. There's heaps. yeah. That's really interesting. Like, and like it's, again, you don't think about it. Like I said, I think we get caught in a little bubble of just expecting success and not look at the bigger picture. I think that's one big thing I've learned with even just doing this podcast is so much goes into every bit of success. Like success, obviously they say doesn't happen overnight, but yeah, it's the funding. Like you can do all the hard work, but you need the funding. Like without your wheelchair, you can't compete. So yeah, it's scary. Yeah. Have you had any luck? Have you heard anything from Adelaide or any nibbles that you know of?
So at the moment, our campaign's still running. So I'm unsure if we've secured a sponsor as part of that campaign, but we have extended the campaign out further. So we're probably still looking for sponsors, and even just for Wheelchair Rugby Australia, as part of that QR code, it does take you to the sponsor shop, which provides you with a lot of other opportunities as well. So things like, transport sponsors of our domestic teams. So there are a lot of options on there for people who don't want to be naming rights to the Australian Steelers as such. There is some smaller options there available, but we're just hoping that we can get someone because unfortunately we do rely on that funding, and we need to be together as a team. We're a national team spread out all across Australia, and so that costs money to run training camps, to get us all together and be able to actually prepare properly for a tournament. And unfortunately, Australia is quite isolated in regards to the rest of the world. We always have to travel, all the way to the other side of the world for everything. So we have a World Championships later this year in Brazil, and that sort of thing, it doesn't come cheap.
The Aussie Backyard podcast could be looking into some sponsorship.
Yeah, we are currently not looking great on our financials, but look, we will share that that program. Not that we have a lot on there, a lot of views, but it's very important. I think it's amazing some of the stories that you hear from out of these games, and obviously listening to your story here today. I feel personally that you guys work harder than the able-bodied athletes, because I was saying to Am in another, like when we were talking about this too off the pod, was that it was kind of one of those things where you have to relearn how to use your body and then compete. Like where a lot of guys, you have to kind of, like, you work on a skill, you go to the gym every day, but you know how to walk, you know how to use every limb, so to speak. But like for yourself, Emily, and I remember from our primary school days, this is really testing my memory, but I think you hold all the school records in the pool from those days. That was probably my peak, I think, at primary school. But from those days, like what's probably been your biggest challenge from going from that able body to where you are now? Has it been the training, getting used to it, or what's that been like? Tough question.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, look, it's a huge transition once you have such a life-changing injury like that. And I feel that I was somewhat protected by that due to my age at the time of having my injury, being so young, probably a little bit more resilient. And I guess, I don't know, I don't think you really realize what is going on to the full extent.
Yep.
And so that sort of probably protected me a little bit in the way that I could just focus on my rehabbing. And for me, I was that determined, stubborn kid going, well, I'm just going to prove you all wrong. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And so that probably helped my recovery a little bit. And but yeah, it is a huge change to, I guess, learn how to compensate for your lack of function, and different movement patterns, different way of picking things up, different way of lifting things. And that's a process that I think never really stops evolving, even as you grow older. And now at the age that I'm at, I'm still adapting to things and learning how to do things to be more independent.
Yeah, you said you had a championship in Brazil towards the end of the year. What's the lead up to that? Have you already started that build up into that process, or is there competitions that lead into that? How does that go for you?
Yeah, so our World Challenge in Adelaide was obviously a really good runway for us a couple of weeks ago, because a lot of the teams that were there are going to be in Brazil. So that was a really nice little trial against them. We will have some more training camps throughout the rest of the year, and then we'll then get over there in Brazil. We don't know who we're playing in our pool yet. They'll do the draw, I believe, tomorrow night, which is exciting. And then we go from there, and once we know who we've got, we can start preparing strategically as well, because that's a huge part of our preparation as well, is looking at how can we maximize our potential against a team, or what I guess we call them lineups, like combinations of 4 players who best matches up against who. We start that sort of strategy preparation as well.
Yep.
And Emily, who's your biggest rival for Australia? Like, is it what country is the most competitive, I suppose? Like, who's the team that we really want to beat?
For me personally, it's Japan. I've actually never been on a game where we've beaten Japan ever in my 6 years of playing rugby, which is maybe I'm the problem. But they're just so well drilled, so so technical, so well drilled, so disciplined, so resilient if things start to go wrong. And So for us, I look at that and just go, oh, that's pinnacle. That's where we need to be. They're number 1 in the world currently. We're number 2. So I would really love to be able to get a few more wins over them and take back that number 1 spot that we did have a few years ago.
Yeah, bloody oath. Yeah, we need to be number 1, even though we need a sponsor, then be number 1, I think. But we'll have to share. Obviously, this podcast will probably be out after the draw comes out, so we'll have to share that on our page. Very excited. So if Japan's not in it, you're happy until the finals. Save that for the finals.
Oh, no, we know they're in there. So we know the teams that are there, but they will split them into 2 pools. So there'll be a pool A and a pool B. So you'll have your pool matches, and then there'll be some crossovers, and you'll play like a semi-final and a final. So it's quite a long tournament. It's actually double the length of the tournament that we just played in Adelaide, which is a little bit scary. So I think it's about 8 games that you end up playing, 8-9 games throughout the whole tournament. So 2 games a day. It's best teams in the world, and it's huge.
And I imagine like the recovery, like if you're playing 2 games a day, like the recovery would be massive. I was going to ask as well how many countries are expected to go over to Brazil.
Yes, I believe it's 12. 12. So,
do you still have to hop in an ice bath? Like, are you expected
fortunately,
to do the ice
Lowies
bath?
don't have to do ice baths.
Oh, thank God. I cannot do ice baths. Like, I don't care. But yeah, so what do you do for
You're also
recovery
not
then?
an athlete, Mitch.
Oh, hang on. This is what performance looks like. Tough group here, jeez. So what did you do recovery? Sorry, Emily.
Yeah, so fortunately, low pointers don't have to do ice baths just because of our lack of temperature regulation. So for us, it's mainly that we do contrast showers, so we still get a little bit of that cold water in there. But we do some Normatec compression gear. So we have like these inflatable arms that go on, and they pump up, and they act like a pump to help push waste products out of your muscles.
Is that like what
so
the
that's our
cyclists
main.
use on their legs? Like the you see on the Tour de France and that?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
very exciting. But like you said, it's if you're doing 2 games a day, sometimes you might be finishing late at night and you've got an early game the next day. So backing up is really difficult, and that's why we sort of need a whole squad to be on, because sometimes you've got that full day followed by a late night, early game the next day, and at the moment, with the way that wheelchair rugby has evolved in the last few years, there's no easy games anymore. Once upon a time, you have an easy game in a tournament, and you can feel like you didn't have to put your best lineups on, and you could kind of save people, I guess, for other more important games. But over the last couple of years, that's really evolved, and there is no easy games anymore. So to win a tournament like that, you have to be basically flawless. So it's a real battle.
How many Australian athletes would be flying over to Brazil, and how many people how many people are on the court at a time?
Yeah, so we take a squad of 12 athletes at a time. And so for a lineup, like to play on court, we have 4 players. So within that group of 12 players, we have, 7 or 8 different combinations of players that we call lineups that can be put on. So the way that works is classifications need to add up to 8. So like one of my lineups is 3-5, 3-5, 1, and myself. So it just needs to add up to 8 points. And for every female that you have on the court, it's a little bit confusing, but if you're a 2 or below in classification for a female, you get a whole point deduction. And if you're below that, you get a 0.5 deduction. So so I am a 0.5 athlete. I take the court as a 0. It's just to make up for the difference in strength between female and male athletes, because we are a mixed gender sport.
Yeah. Right. So is there a ratio? Do you need to have a certain amount of females on every time, or is it not like yet? Or is it just still on the points?
No, it's just on the points. So for us, we're really fortunate that we feel like we have currently 4 women in our Australian Steelers squad without that ratio being a thing. So we are very proud of the fact that we have that number of women that can take the court and be competitive, because that's more than any other team internationally at the moment. Australia is really leading the way in terms of female participation.
Would you feel like if there was more, females involved, would you feel that there needs to be like a female and a male separate wheelchair rugby, or are you happy with the mixed for the time being?
Look, personally, I'm really happy with it the way it is. I know we have had conversations about splitting the sport, going into, Paralympic Games down the track. But for me personally, I don't necessarily believe that the equity is in splitting it. I actually prefer it as a mixed gender sport, and I think whilst ever we've got those deductions in there for female athletes to play, I don't feel like it's a steep ask for them to be on the court at the same time as the males. And I just think it's a really great environment to be a part of, that we can have female and male athletes out there representing together and, showcasing strength and ability and whatever that looks like without having to need to split it. So for me personally, I support it staying the way it is. But if it ever was to go that way of splitting, I think we would definitely be on the front foot in terms of performing really well in that aspect.
You did mention too, Emily, going back to Adelaide, where you had the nationals as well as the internationals. Is there any young next generation guys, the younger kids coming through that you got to see and experience, and obviously the next group, or are they still more about your age that are in that national competition?
Yeah, so really exciting. So we had the international competition, we had the domestic competition, and then we actually ran juniors over there as well, which is really cool. Yeah. So they were over there as well. So that's really exciting. I've actually been really fortunate prior to taking maternity leave with Max to be involved with coaching some of those juniors up here in Queensland. And I just think that's really exciting that we're looking that far ahead, that we're going to get on the front foot with trying to get those guys involved. But watching the juniors play is actually hectic. So it's hilarious to watch, because I think that most of the time they're not even watching the ball. They're just in it for the hits. So there's always like little kids just skating around and just smashing into each other as hard as they can go. And there's absolutely no strategy to it whatsoever, which is really funny. So, but really great that they get to be there, and that they get to watch their idols as well. That not only us as Steelers, to us, I think, to them, I think they always look at us and go, "Oh yeah, no, I've seen Emilie every day. Like, what's so special about her?" And then, all these international teams come over and they go, "Oh, wow, look at this person, look at this person." We're like, "Oh, we're way better than them." So, but yeah, really exciting that we had them there. And just like to watch some of those guys and, already their chair skills and their, the way they pass the ball, the way they move. I have very good faith in where wheelchair rugby is going to end up.
That's a cool thing. I think a strength of any sport's the juniors. Like we talk a lot about rugby is my favourite sport. The juniors are really struggling at the moment in participation, and you can't have elite level athletes without the guys pushing from beneath. I think you need to have that grassroots. So that's an awesome achievement. Like to have that, and good on you for helping coaching too. That must be very rewarding for you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I love coaching the juniors. So basically my entire adult career has been in coaching. So since I left university, basically I've been coaching swimming as part of my job. So to then step into that space in wheelchair rugby has really been really exciting as well, and it's something I'm really enjoying. And to I guess have a hand in where this sport goes in the track is really exciting as well for me, because I think that's, like you said, the strength of any sport, but in particular parasport, where you can't just go and pick up athletes off the street. They're a lot harder to find and a lot harder to, I guess, get enticed into playing sports. So for us, the strength of that junior competition is only going to strengthen our sport down the track and well into the future with our, they're our future Steelers.
And is the juniors, is that an age bracket, or is it just the people who are not yet in the Australian side?
No, so there is an age bracket. They are 16 and under, and once they hit that 16 mark, they can actually start playing in our domestic competition, so in our National League competition, so they can go and play for a Bond or a UQ or don't go play for UQ. But you can come play for Bond. But yeah, once they get into that, then they're obviously putting their foot forward for selections for further up things down the track.
Now, just going back to swimming, Emily, being a coach in that aspect, I know very little about swimming in any athlete, and because all I can remember is bubble kick. That's as far as I know, and I'm assuming that they just do that better than most people. What are you looking at? Like when you see guys that are swimming at those higher levels, what kind of coaching do you actually give them? Like what what advice can you give those guys about how they swim?
Yeah, look, it more turns into, I guess, things about some really finer points of technique, but it becomes more about energy systems at that point. So, writing programs that are going to set them up well for events. So, I guess looking at, are they endurance athletes, are they sprint athletes, and crafting programs that are going to help them with that. So, it's a lot of shouting times. There's a lot of timing things like, I guess giving them rest, giving them what their times are, telling them what their targets are. It's a lot more of a numbers game at that point than I guess technique and that kind of thing. But that's the stuff that I really love though, is trying to think about okay, well, we want this athlete to perform at this level, and this is the event they're participating in, and I guess working backwards from there and creating that plan. So that's the stuff that the sciencey part of my brain really enjoys doing.
Yep. So do they have, can they wear watches? Do you manage heart rate, all those things while they're in the pool? Or is it just purely based on time and energy and an estimate based on that?
So a lot of our age group athletes, it's just time-based. We still want them to be, they're still kids, even though they might be 15 and 16. To us, they're still kids. So we do mainly do it time-based. And then once they're sort of out of that 16-plus age group, we do start working with heart rates and lactate levels and things like that instead. So it gets a lot more sciencey at the top end. But for us, with the junior guys, it's time-based. And then right down to our little tuckers, it's just about getting those guys in the pool and just getting them racing and just going fast and enjoying it.
That was never my skill. I stayed on land and even couldn't do much on that. But anyway, I'll leave the swimming side to you. If you had to pick, would you continue to coach the wheelchair guys, or do you think the swimming side's pulling you more back?
Oh, really tough. Okay. Really tough. Look, I think they're different. Again, I guess swimming is that individual time-based, black and white answer of a sport. So, you did this time, you need to do this time, we need to do this. Where I think for rugby, it's so much more strategic, a lot more tactical. There's a lot more skill-based stuff involved in that. So, again, probably just two very different sports. Love coaching both, love being involved in both. So, just look, at the moment, I'm really fortunate to be able to be involved in both. And hopefully that just continues along that path.
Now, I had to touch on your husband. You guys got married recently, a couple of years ago, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that at Sunshine Coast? I saw some of the photos on the beach. They looked very nice. You looked like a beautiful day. So it must have been definitely a Sunshine Coast kind of day.
Yes, thank you. We actually got married at the Gold Coast. So it was in November 2022.
Oh, okay, great. Because I have noticed his jerseys behind you there. I'm assuming they're his and the bike. And and we obviously did a bit of research on him too. He's been to, was it 3 Paralympic Games now? Couple of golds, couple of getting the bronze, and he's recently retired. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes,
So what's his journey through it? Yeah, fill us in a bit on him.
Yeah, so Dave has cerebral palsy, and so he's been a Paralympic athlete as well. And went to 3 Paralympic Games and tried to go for a 4th in Paris 2024. Unfortunately, Australia did not have too many spots for male athletes, so he missed out on a spot probably by 1 or 2 spots, which was really disappointing. So for him, I guess he was at a time of his life where he knew that Paris would probably be his last Paralympic Games. So when he didn't qualify, he decided to have a little break, and then ultimately called time on his career, which is, I guess, a little bit sad, but also exciting for that next chapter of his life. But yeah, really, I guess, exciting for him in the way that, we were moving into the stage of having a family post Paris. And so he got to actually come across to the Paralympic Games in Paris and as a spectator and watch me instead. And where if he competed, we actually wouldn't have even seen each other compete or anything, because we were both playing on and competing on the same days.
Right. Yeah.
So he was like, oh, this is actually excellent. I get to go over and actually get to watch you play and get to drink a beer whilst I do it. So it's fantastic.
So what events did he go to the Paralympics with?
Yeah, so he did both track and road cycling. So his main event was the individual pursuit on the track. So for those who don't know what it is, it's two athletes start on
Yep.
either side of the velodrome, and you've got a 3K loop that you've got to do. If you catch the other athlete, then you win. If you don't catch them, it's just simply time-based. So very nerve-wracking to watch, I must say. As a wife sitting at home having to watch that event and watch like the microsecond difference between each athlete. And Dave was always a terrible starter, like dreadful, awful. And he won't mind me saying that because he was dreadful. And so he was always in the red for the first 6 laps out of a 12-lap event. And I'm just watching him in the red, going, oh my God, this is painful. And then would eventually have a really good back end of a race. And that was where he was really successful. But yeah, look, it was lovely to be a part of his career. That's how we met, obviously, through cycling, when we were both teammates. And but yes, ultimately very sad that he's now retired, but living his best new life as a dad.
It just scares me. I've seen a few of those on TV. They're phenomenally steep. That velodrome, yeah. I like again. Geez, I don't have a lot of skills, but that scares me. Like that is way too steep.
Yeah, no, they are very steep, and I don't think you realise it until you're standing on it. They actually are almost vertical. Like it's crazy that you do need that speed to stay up.
Did you have to give your neighbours warning when like the Paralympics was on to be like, look, nothing's happening. I'm just yelling at the TV.
Yeah, look, we fortunately had a spare block next to us, and we lived in Bathurst, and Dave went to the Paralympics.
I think Emma needs that when the Swifts are playing weekly. So tough season for the New South Wales Swifts. But anyway, we won't bring that up. I got told at the start of the podcast not to bring that up. His journey obviously was very different to yours, Emily, because he was with the cerebral palsy with his athletes. Does he still coach other cerebral palsy guys in the cycling, or is he taken a different direction altogether now he's retired?
Taken a different direction altogether now. So he's actually working as part of Push Mobility, which is a wheelchair company here on the Sunshine Coast. They have a branch in Adelaide and in Melbourne as well. So at the moment he's actually selling hand cycles and mountain bike hand cycles. Not game enough to have a go on one of those. But yeah, he's actually now sort of taken, I guess, a bit of a different route in terms of helping other athletes get equipment that they need to I guess, live their best life and be independent in that way. So, yeah, slightly different direction for him. But he's told me today that he's going to start doing some Masters racing. So I'll keep you posted.
What age is Masters? Because I've been looking at over 35's touch. I've been eyeing that off for a few years now. I'm looking forward to that. But what's the Masters age?
Well, really funny. So there's different age brackets, and Dave's not that old. He's turning 35 in December, and he's now looking at it, going, oh yeah, like I'll go into Masters. And he looked at the age brackets today, and he's not in Masters 1, he's in Masters 2. So I think he thought he was going to sneak back into that first age bracket, but unfortunately, he's in the second one.
Sorry, so you've done your swimming, you've done your cycling, you've done your wheelchair rugby. Is there any other sports that you want to give a go, or something that's sparking your interest? Or I know you've got enough on your plate at the moment, but is there another sport that you would like to have a dip your toe in?
Oh God, I don't think my family would cope.
Another set of rules.
It's been a long-standing joke in our family that I'm to retire after LA Paralympics in 2028, and then they announced 2032 to be Brisbane Olympics. And so, it's been quite the long-running joke in our family that whether I was going to go to Brisbane or not. So I like to drop it in conversation with my mum every now and then that, when I go to Brisbane, and she likes to tell me, well, Max is going to be 6 by then. So,
sorry, I didn't know if you're giving us an exclusive scoop there that you were going to retire. I didn't know if that were you're hearing it here first. Or...
No, we're now positive news. Yeah.
No, unfortunately not, Em. But look, for the time being, happy in rugby, and look, I'm really loving the way that my family have embraced the sport as well. Dad's a farmer who came from, he's one of 4 boys who then had 3 daughters. So was very convinced he was never going to have to stand on the side of a rugby field ever. So very much enjoying, I guess, now being involved in rugby, and he's across all the strategy, across all the teams, across all the classifications, even more so than I am. So yes, he's really embraced that, and as a rugby dad, and just I think I'm content where I am for now.
Does he give you advice on the sideline, like that unwanted dad advice still?
Absolutely. So after each match, I usually get a phone call that's a debrief of all the things that we should have done differently and all the things we could do better next time. So last World Championship, World Championships are run every 4 years. So obviously we had one this year. We did one in 2022, right before we got married. And it was really funny because that's why I'm a little bit nervous about this draw coming up next week. Because he's last World Championships, we got the draw of all the pools, and we drew a really hard pool with all the opposition that we had in there. And at the time, he was like calling it the Pool B, Pool of Death.
Really?
And it was great. He goes, "Oh, you guys aren't going to do any good. You're in the Pool B, Pool of Death." And I'm like, "Oh, great. This is good." And we actually, it's been a long running joke because we actually went on to win the whole tournament. So, yeah.
Now
So are you hoping for another pool of death, or are you hoping for it to be a little bit easier and then get the pool of death when it comes to the finals?
Look, I think as I said before, any team now is a hard match for us now. So everybody's caught up to Australia, unfortunately. So we don't really have any easy games anymore. So we, just need to take each game as it comes. And I'm confident if we play our best, then we could go back to back and win this one. But we just need to stick to playing our style of rugby and really embrace the new culture that we've taken on this year. And I think we'll be just fine. But yes.
I just had one thing that came across the desk we were talking about. The Commonwealth Games has come, obviously you got canned from Melbourne, is that correct? And then there was news coming through that there's no team Paralympic sports in the Commonwealth Games. Have you heard about that? Or are you guys competing at the what do we call it? The Para Commonwealth Games. Sorry, I always get that wrong. Are you guys competing at that one when it comes up in Scotland?
No, so unfortunately, wheelchair rugby is not a sport for the Commonwealth Games. So Commonwealth Games have a really limited program across all sports in terms of their inclusion for Paralympic athletes, which is really sad given the diversity of the Paralympic Games. So I would really love to see them take that on in the future as something. But even other sports like cycling and athletics have really limited programs in terms of who they have compete at the Commonwealth Games. So yes, unfortunately that's off the cards for us. But within our own sport, we have enough going on from year to year with, Oceania Championships and World Championships and things like that, World Challenge, that we don't need it as part of our program at the moment, but it would be a really exciting stepping stone to have every couple of years as well, similar to a World Champs or a Paralympic Games, to be a part of that, and just another opportunity to pull on green and gold as part of a bigger team rather than just the Steelers. But yeah, we'd love to see them embrace that in the future.
And what's the peak event for wheelchair rugby?
Definitely
is it the World
Paralympic
Champs?
Games.
Paralympics, yeah.
Oh, very good. Beals, do you have any?
I know I've asked a lot of questions.
No.
this episode.
Have you got anything like a complaint that you needed our
No.
VIP's opinion, mate? Has anything been annoying you? You're in a good mood today.
Pretty good, actually. Yeah.
What about any movies, Beals? What have you been watching?
Actually, the Greenland 2 was one that I've watched recently, a sequel. Have you ever watched the first one, Greenland?
No, not my cup of tea. No. Good movie?
No, actually it wasn't.
How far did you get through?
I got to the end, but it was just, I was a bit disappointed because the first one I really liked, but the second one was a bit of a letdown.
A Netflix one?
No, Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So what happened in the second one? What was no good?
Well, let me just lay it out there for the
Hang on, have you
first
seen
one.
it, Emily? Have you?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Well, the first one's meant to be a disaster movie with an asteroid hitting the Earth.
Geez, a sequel must be tough.
That's what I thought. I was interested to see what would happen, but turns out the asteroid was obviously barely a problem, and lots of people are still alive on Earth. So that's kind of what was disappointing, because the first movie doesn't tell you that at all. Leads up to a whole thing about how the world's going to end, and then it doesn't end.
So
Have you got a
what's the
star
second
rating
one?
for his Beals?
I'd give it 1.5 out of 5. Yes. It's got very good actors in it. Jared Butler,
Oh, me man, Jared.
which he's in the first one as well. And
Yeah.
as I said, the first one I really liked it, enjoyed it, because it's about him escaping to the bunker in Greenland
Yeah.
with his family to live out this asteroid
Yeah.
that was meant to wipe out the Earth, or wipe out the surface of the Earth, and it was barely an inconvenience. So
Shut the shops for a long
Yeah.
weekend.
not a lot happened outside.
So then what happens in the second movie? Do they just talk about nothing?
Well, the bunker that turns out was only meant to be lived in for 5 years, which, okay. Doomsday bunker for 5 years only. And and this asteroid was meant to create mountains in France, but there's people living around them, and cities are still there, and wars are being fought over this crater that's apparently the new cradle of life that they'll have to escape to. Now, in the movie, they mentioned mountains that weren't there before the asteroid hit. How does an asteroid create mountains, and then 5 years later, people are still alive around it? So I'm not sure how that works. I'm not a scientist, and cities and people and trees and forests are still all there, and this asteroid made a mountain next to it. So I'm not quite sure how that works.
No. There's some movies you don't need to watch, Emily.
Just stick with the first one, right?
Yeah. Have you thought of a movie that you're going to show to Max? The first one. Are you going to go straight to The Hangover when he's old enough?
Oh, no deal. No.
We used to call you.
here's the guy we called you after. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's bad parenting. But no, look, at the moment we're just on like a revolving, Disney kind of thing going on at the moment, just showing him all those Disney movies, because he's now at this really cute age where he's actually, watching the TV, and so he's loving all the characters and all of that. So our life has taken a sharp left-hand turn to just 24-hour Disney movies now. So
yeah, so Tommy, Tommy, the other bloke that's on the pod, he's just got a newborn, and he's a 2-year-old as well, and his Spotify list now is phenomenal. Gone of heavy metal days to the Wiggles mostly. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Ours is mostly white noise. So
sleeping noise. No one who sleeps for 12 hours. You've got it all down pat.
Just a little sidebar. The Disney movies that you watch, do you watch the original animated, or do you watch the brand new remakes that they keep making?
Oh, no, you definitely got to go the OG. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, Beals hates AI. Not a big fan of technology. We're getting close to the hour mark. Emily, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or bring up, or just mainly sponsorship? Get around it.
Yeah, just get around us. And even just following us on socials, things like that. Get around us for the World Championships coming up later this year. So, that's such a big tournament. We love getting on there and seeing what wishes sent to us through, Messenger and Facebook comments and things like that. So, we just love feeling all that support back from home when we're at such a big tournament like that. And, whether things are going well, whether things are going pear-shaped, it's really lovely to feel all that support. So just get around us. Love it.
I had one more question. Where can we watch the Bond versus UQ match? Is it live streamed? Do we have to get there? Like, are we buying tickets now? Like, because I want to see this now. I'm pumped up. I'm fired up.
Well, look, I love the fact that you're so enthusiastic to watch Bond get the win this year.
Yeah, no, there's no other option.
Yeah, there is no other option. I can't listen to Bondy for another year. Look, yeah, we usually live stream that through our Wheelchair Rugby Australia socials. So keep an eye on that later in the year. You'll see our different rounds come up, and you'll be able to see some final games with Bond and Yuki going head-to-head again, I'm sure. But full faith in the blue and yellow up the Bull Sharks. We're going to get it this year.
We might have to do a show up there. We might have to take the show. That's affordable. New York was a challenge, but I reckon we might be able to scrape together. So you'll have to let us know some dates, Emily, and we'll come up and be the cheer squad up in the stand. Yeah.
Excellent. I love that. We need a few more supporters up there. It'd be great.
I reckon we can chuck a microphone on you while you're on the game.
No.
Oh, no, we don't want that.
Yeah. No, Emma, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for firstly, thank you for agreeing to join a podcast that of our caliber. I know you must have really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel to fit us in. But it's awesome to hear your stories. And obviously, if there's anything coming up, please feel free to reach out. We'll have you on again anytime. We'll definitely have to get you on closer to the big tournaments too to give us the inside word.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great, guys.
Yep, no worries. Beals,
Thank you.
thanks for driving all the way up here, mate. I know you. The movie review was worth it.
Yeah.
And Emma,
That's
as
it.
we've said previously, we don't need Tommy. So, yeah. You can't even bring my lawnmower back. So, anyway, yeah. Oh, that's what I had to ask you. Petrol or battery lawnmower? It's been a massive debate.
Look, my husband has just about every product in the Ryobi range. Like, it's epic. So I would have to say that we're battery. We're those people. Sorry.
Rats. So we should have ended it.
We were doing so good. Can I ask? Oh, Ryobi green. Oh, it's not
Yeah.
even red.
Nah, thanks again, Emily. Really appreciate your time tonight. Enjoy Max. Passing our regards. David in his retirement now, getting ready for Masters. Yeah.
Thank you. Will do.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you.
1,